Republicans in the Senate unveil a health care bill cobbled together in secrecy. Does it shine or flop? Michigan Senator Debbie Stabenow is here with a look at the fight ahead. And from struggles in Detroit's demolition program to a lawsuit threatening the Pistons' move downtown, Mayor Mike Duggan is here to talk about a very full plate. Today is Sunday, June 25th, 2017, and this is Flashpoint. Hi, welcome to Flashpoint. We've got a big day and night ahead tomorrow as Detroit gets ready for its annual show over the Detroit River. It is one of the biggest fireworks shows in the country, and it'll once again illuminate an increasingly busy riverfront and downtown. We are just 3 months away now from the opening of the new Little Caesars Arena. It seems a new hotel or restaurant opens every week, but progress does have its fits and sputters. The mayor's demolition program is a key piece of his mayoral tenure. Last week we talked about the grand jury investigation of it. This week we saw the city and state come to a kind of truce. The city had to pay a $5 million settlement for invoice problems, but in return the state is putting $5 million back into the program. But what is next here? Also, a city council vote this week seemed to keep the Pistons' move back to the city on track, but it again brought to light the discomfort that some have over spending public money on teams owned by billionaires. There's a lot to talk about with Mayor Duggan, and he's coming up with us this morning. But up first, after a very strange and secretive process to come up with a Senate health care bill, it was finally unveiled Thursday to predictably displease Democrats, but importantly, at least 4 displeased Republicans. They have the power to sink the thing. Senator Debbie Stabenow is here to talk about the fight over health care, and if Donald Trump is so unpopular, why can't the Democrats seem to take back any of the congressional seats that have come open? It's all today on Flashpoint. We've been on quite a journey through the health care debate. Think back to that Rose Garden celebration hosted by the president to fet the bill that came out of the House, a bill that the president later described as mean, apparently hoping to do better with the one that would come out of the Senate. Well, we finally got a look at that this past week. Is it any better, and what are its prospects for moving forward? Good to have with us this morning joining us from Lansing, Michigan Senator Debbie Stabenow, a Democrat who, like all of the other Democrats in the Senate, don't care much for this bill, but Senator, you really can't do much about it except stand back and watch what happens with the Republicans, correct?
Well, Devin, first, it's great to be with you, and I really wish I was with you talking about the real costs on health care that we should be working on a bipartisan basis. Lowering the cost of prescription drugs, one of the big drivers of costs, as well as out-of-pocket costs for people who are paying too much. So that's what I would rather be doing. Instead, as you said, we have a bill coming before us next week. No hearings. We had 100 hearings on the bill in 2009 before the Affordable Care Act even came out of committee, but 0. And we are in a position now where if the Republicans, who have 52 members, have all of them, or at least 50 of them, voting yes, something will pass. So we need 3 Republican colleagues with us, and that's really the focus, and has been the focus for months. I've been working with our hospitals and doctors and nurses in Michigan, cancer advocates, Alzheimer's advocates, women's health groups for months, for 6 months. And the good news is, they originally wanted to repeal and unravel the healthcare system by January 27th. And now it's June, and they haven't done it yet. But they could. And so we're doing everything possible just to Senator, raise awareness.
But let me interrupt just for a second. It's interesting to me, we talk about politics making strange bedfellows. Does it matter to you that Rand Paul and Ted Cruz dislike this bill for opposite reasons than you, or does it just matter that they're against it?
Well, Devin, from my standpoint, we need 3 Republicans to say no in order to stop this. I don't care what the reason is. The bottom line, we need 3 Republicans to say no so we can start over. Because for us in Michigan, and that's what I care about, it's going to raise costs for everybody, it's going to take away coverage, and the insult is that the money is going to be used to give to tax cuts for insurance companies, drug companies, and the very, very wealthy in the country. So they're going to pay for it by taking away people's health care in Michigan.
And Republicans, though, and conservatives, Republicans and conservatives, not just in Michigan, but all over the place, are basically telling Democrats, this is kind of your just desserts. You push through, even though there were hearings, you basically push through the Affordable Care Act with just Democratic support, so you shouldn't be too surprised if when the Republicans are in charge, they unravel it.
You know what, we can talk about process later in the 25 consecutive days on the Senate floor that we took, the 147 Republican amendments that were included in the bill when we were trying to get bipartisan support. And I know Mitch McConnell wanted the talking point of saying no, Republicans supported it. I understand. But Devin, this is not a political issue. Health care is personal for every single person in Michigan. And I want to tell you the good news story of what happened when the governor and the legislature did the right thing on health care. We have something called Healthy Michigan now. 650,000 people are getting their health care. And so what's happened? That has meant 97% of our children can now see a doctor in the state rather than getting sick and going to the emergency room. Emergency room costs are down by 50% for people who are walking in without insurance, and the state of Michigan is saving $432 million next year, taxpayer money, saving it, because they're not paying for health care through the most expensive way possible, which is the emergency room. So the fact is, by doing the right thing, helping children see a doctor, helping seniors get care in nursing homes. Three out of 5 seniors in nursing homes in Michigan get their nursing home care through Medicaid. I mean, this is very serious. So for everybody who's concerned about their mom and dad who needs a nursing home or has Alzheimer's disease or their children, this is not political. It's being treated in D.C. as a political game. And it's actually personal for people. Senator,
I got just a couple minutes left, and so one more quick question on health care, and then I'm going to get to some other things. There's a suspicion among some that really underneath it all, the real Democratic agenda in Washington is to move us to single-payer universal care. Quietly, but that's really the agenda. Do you think that that's what most Democrats on Capitol Hill actually support and want?
Well, I want a system that is going to work the best for people, that's going to be the most efficient and lower costs. And so Medicare for all is one opportunity. Lowering the costs, lowering the age on Medicare to 50 or 55 so more people could buy in is another option. Having a public competitor in the marketplace to make sure the cost people are being charged is a fair price, the right price. There are a lot of ways to do it. Costs are too high now for too many people. That's what I'm focused on, lowering costs for people, but not taking away, literally in Michigan, it would be millions of people's health insurance. And again, the rub here is that the money being saved is being used for a tax cut. Here's one final number. 400 wealthiest people in the country, 400, are going to get $33 billion in tax cuts collectively. Yep. It's shocking on the back of seniors in nursing homes and our kids.
I've got just about 2 minutes left. 2 other things I want to quickly get to. First off, your reaction to the reporting from the Washington Post on Friday that tells us that the Obama administration was pretty well acquainted with what Russia was trying to do during the election, didn't really tell the public too much about it, and to some in Washington made a rather impotent response to try and crack down on Russia for it. This, in some ways, puts this Russia matter back at the feet of Democrats, doesn't it?
Well, there's no question that what happened with Russia and is still going on is very, very serious. The intelligence agencies did announce before the election, I think it was something in one of the presidential debates where they went back and forth about whether Russia was interfering. I think it's always easy to look at hindsight in terms of what the administration, the former administration, should have done.
Then let me ask you, move on to where we are today. The opinion polls tell us that Donald Trump is a very unpopular president, and yet for the elections for these open seats, the Democrats haven't been able to make any hay. Now, they are Republican seats, but you haven't been able to take any back yet. Is it time for a change in Democratic leadership?
Well, the seats you're talking about, you're right, are Republican seats, and I think it doesn't help in a Republican seat when a Democrat is working hard to get independent votes and Republican votes to have it nationalized, which is what I think happened in Georgia. We saw South Carolina where it wasn't a big national race and the Democrat almost won. But when you're making it a big national race, it's hard to cut through as an individual candidate, and I think that was very much what was involved in Georgia. You know, just like in Michigan, though, people are a very independent lot and make up their own decision, and they don't want people coming in from somewhere else and telling them how to vote.
Does that mean are you satisfied then with where the leadership is, with Nancy Pelosi being Speaker of the House?
Well, I don't think it's my position to tell the House what they should do. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think it's my position to tell the House what they should do. We need a lot of voices, that's something that, you know, I'm reaching out to make sure we have as many voices as possible. We need people who've been around a long time and people who are new. The big thing for us is we need an economy that works for everybody, where everybody can have a good paying job, raise their family, and know that their children's lives are going to be better than theirs because there'll be opportunity available. And that's what I'm focused on.
Senator, it's always good to have you on Flashpoint. Thanks very much for the time this morning.
Thanks.
Senator Debbie Stabenow joining us from Lansing. We come back. They say all politics is local. We'll get more local with the mayor of Detroit, Mike Duggan, on Flashpoint after this. Welcome back to Flashpoint. When you're the mayor of Detroit, there's no such thing as a down day or downtime, so it's always good when the mayor can find some time to spend with us on Flashpoint, and that's the case this morning. Mayor, good to have you with us here today.
Thanks for having me back, Devin.
I've got a number of issues I want to rifle through, but let's start with the Pistons arena. You had to get through a judge's decision this past week on the lawsuit filed by Robert Davis, but then you also had this rather contentious vote in the council, passed by a wide margin, but still a lot of people who seem to believe that this is money that we're taking out of schools or out of the hands of poor people so that we can help refurbish and replenish the coffers of very wealthy people.
Well, of course, it's passed City Council now 7-2 3 times. But this is utter nonsense. I mean, you got Robert Davis, a guy who served federal prison time for stealing from the school children at Highland Park, who is claiming he's helping the school children in Detroit, and it's just false. This deal does not take $1 away. State law says the school children in Detroit get $7,552 per student no matter what. If there is less money collected, the state makes up the difference. This does not affect the classroom in Detroit. The council people understand that. Every community leader understands that, and I'm confident that eventually we'll get the word out publicly. This doesn't take any money away from the school kids.
Beyond the schools, though, a lot of people do have a problem with the fact that we use public money to help support billionaire sports team owners, that if they want these playgrounds, they can build them themselves.
So you will find very few places in America that you brought a professional sports team back to a city for $35 million. Usually it's $300, $400, $500 million. But the thing to understand is DDA funds by law have to be used for downtown development purposes. So we could have put it toward an office building instead of for the Pistons, but we couldn't have used it for other purposes. And that's why I think there's such strong support. And the other thing is, across this city, the idea that all 4 professional teams will be in the city of Detroit for the first time in 42 years, I think there's enormous support for that.
In fact, the only city in America that'll have 4 teams clustered in one area like that, which for sports fans is really something. Let's talk a little bit about what we found out this past week as we try to move forward toward a bridge between Detroit and Canada. You sold a lot of the land in there, but it's going to mean displacing somewhere around 250 homeowners.
Well, actually, the bridge itself was taking out people within the bridge footprint.
Yeah.
but Simone Sagovic and the Delray community has been arguing that people who live outside of the take area are going to have their quality of life changed. And they have been saying,
isn't that a fair argument?
Shouldn't they have a chance to move? And so the deal that we worked out for 36 vacant parcels of land in the streets is $48 million coming in, and that money is going to be used for neighborhood development. It's going to be used $10 million for a job training fund to get Detroiters ready for these jobs, $2.5 million for health monitoring. And what we're saying, and you saw a celebration in the Delray community who hosted the announcement. Now, I never thought I'd see the day that the Delray community and the Bridge Authority stood together in celebration, is we're going to take 240 vacant houses in Detroit. We're going to renovate them, and we're going to give the folks in Delray who want to move a chance. So we'll move out of an area that is changing a lot, and we'll strengthen neighborhoods all across the city by filling in vacant houses. I think it's a great deal all the way around.
The long line of starts and stops on this that go back to the Maroon family that doesn't really want this to happen. Where's your outlook now on where we really are on this spectrum? Because it's taking a lot longer than obviously the supporters of the bridge would have ever imagined.
Yeah, well, so they went out for proposals. Their idea of a bid process is they take a year. So they're about 7 or 8 months into the RFP process. They're going to get bids in at the end of this year. The bridge company expects to award it and start construction in 2018. I think they would tell you the last big obstacle was working something out with the city of Detroit. And I insisted before we sell that land that we got a package that the people in Southwest Detroit supported, and that's what you saw this week, is something that we did together with the neighbors.
Let's move to one of the signature features of your mayoral tenure has been your demolition program, but it has been a troubled one. We find out recently that it's a subject of a grand jury investigation, and before we get to the other pieces of this, how concerned are you about your office and your own role in it and where your culpability might be with the grand jury?
You know, the U.S. attorney is doing exactly what they should be doing. And there used to be a principle in this country that people were innocent until proven guilty. And it's not just defense attorneys who believe that. Prosecutors believe that too. And so what they're doing is investigating. Nobody from my office has ever been contacted or interviewed, but you saw an announcement that some contractors were contacted, and they're doing whatever they're doing. But I think the feds have been pretty clear in the direction it's going. Nobody has been charged, and I was really pleased at the settlement this week that we had, where the state had claimed we'd had some over expenditures. We settled that this week, where we agreed to pay $5 million, and the state agreed to put $5 million more into Detroit demolition and release us from all financial claims before 2017.
Kind of amounted to a truce on this issue.
But the more important thing is the release prior to 2017. If the state thought there were significant problems back then, they would have never given us a 3-year financial release.
Well, when you say that no one in your office has been contacted or interviewed, I think there's an old sort of theory among grand juries that if you haven't been contacted or interviewed, you're the one they're investigating.
Yeah, that's just plain wrong. I mean, if you're one person, that's true. But I really don't want to talk too much about the investigation. I understand what they've doing. It's been going on for 1.5 years. Everybody at the Land Bank and the Building Authority has completely cooperated. I don't know what's going on in contacts with the contractors, but you also, I think, have been given pretty clear indication on what's going on in the investigation.
But there clearly has been a problem with some contracting, because there's a sort of a legendary story, I guess, behind the scenes that part of the process is you have to agree to rebuild the sidewalk after you've torn down a building, and there's a rather legendary story that somebody was photoshopping sidewalks into the pictures that they sent back in.
And so the legendary stories you're hearing were caught by the Land Bank quality team and submitted. There have been a whole bunch of issues where the Land Bank quality team caught billings and didn't pay them. And so, again, I don't know how to deal with all this. You look at this, and we have now taken down nearly 12,000 houses in the last 3 years. Nobody in America has ever approached that. The last federal audit report showed our cost in Detroit of demolishing a house was less than Cleveland or Indianapolis or any other major program in America. We're getting the cost down. And last month, Evan, the feds released us another $88 million, the largest amount that's been released. And so I would say, if you look at this and say, if they had a lack of confidence in us, why would they release $88 million more? but we put new processes in place in October. The state's embedded in our operations every single day, and you haven't seen issues in the last 8 months. But, you know, I understand what we're dealing with, and we're just going to keep knocking down houses.
Talk about the demolition program was a big part of your presentation up on Mackinac Island, which has been shared now by so many people. You've been sort of really almost universally hailed for the things that you had to say. I've been in Detroit for over 20 years. It was the first time I've ever heard anybody really connect our segregated city that we have today with federal housing policy from the 30s and 40s. But just sort of thumbnail that for me a little bit for people who haven't seen it as we move into now the Detroit 67 exhibition, which just opened at the Historical
Well, of course, it took me 45 minutes up north, and it's on YouTube.
And you get about 2 minutes
I'm
here.
told it's been viewed 10,000 times, so you can see the speech. But basically what I was laying out the case was why we have our policies today. We are rebuilding the city on principles that say nobody is going to be moved out to move new people in. We have principles that say if you want help from us building new apartments, 20% have to be subsidized and set aside for affordable units, so people of all incomes are in all areas of the city. The Detroit riverfront is open to everybody. And I laid out the reason for that, and I went through the history of Detroit, and there's no question that the federal government, starting with the Franklin Roosevelt administration, would not allow mortgages to be guaranteed in racially mixed or in predominantly African American areas. And you look at the history of the development of the city, and you can trace it right down to a lot of the rundown conditions we have today. And so I was interested that so much of the history got the attention. But really what I was doing was explaining to people why we are insisting from every single developer, you are going to create affordable units in these new apartment buildings.
In fact, you insist that wealthy people need to be living next to not wealthy people in your Detroit.
Go to New York or Chicago. I mean, that's what a real city is. And so, as I said, over near DMC where I used to work, we got great new apartments in Midtown that doctors and nurses can afford. Well, now, with the policies and the Strathmore and several of the others, the people who are pushing the wheelchairs, the people who are making the food in the hospital cafeterias, some number are set aside so they can live in those neighborhoods too. If you want to be in the city of Detroit, you should want to live in neighborhoods with people of all incomes and all backgrounds. We
will link that conversation again on the Flashpoint page for you, the presentation rather, up on Mackinac. My last quick question for you, what's your thumbnail so far on the Q line? It's had a few technical issues, and some people have talked about being confused about when and where to pick it up, but what's your read on its success so far?
Well, I understand they've extended the free period now
through Labor Day.
Until September. They did an excellent job of building. I'm not sure they were prepared to be transit operators. And being a transit operator is very different than being a builder. And I think they're finding their way. I think it's important that when you say the next car is going to be here in 4 minutes, it not be there in 15 minutes. Those are things that they're working out. But I see lots of people riding every day, and I'm confident that they will continue to get better and better as transit operators.
Mayor, thank you for being here this morning. We'll see you at the fireworks tomorrow night.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll talk about the fireworks when we come right back on Flashpoint.